Hello, manic.mercurian here with another birth chart reading. This one is for Monday, January 18th, 1993 at 11:35 p.m. in Redwood City, California. And you have Sun in Capricorn. It's actually at the last degree of Capricorn. Moon in Sagittarius with Libra rising. And so you do strike me as someone who wouldn't super closely resonate with their sun sign. You do have, Sun in Capricorn, Mercury in Capricorn, and then Neptune and Uranus are conjunct, and they're conjunct your IC in Capricorn. You would definitely have some Capricornian traits, so that would make you sort of um, very pragmatic, very practical, a little bit cynical, or even miserly, especially at a young age. Capricorns are known to sort of grow up almost backwards, so they start out life very kind of serious and deadpan and definitely very conservative or traditional. A lot of times they're very much focused on the future, so they're very much working toward the future all the time. So not really into big spending or definitely not into overdoing things in regard to displays of emotion or spending or they don't there aren't it's one of the least dramatic signs, I would say. But Capricorn does have this pattern where as they grow older and mature, they actually learn to loosen up a little bit, and they usually develop this really great sort of deadpan sense of humor, and they become almost more childlike as they get older later in life, as they kind of loosen up and relax a little bit, I guess you could say. So you would have some of those traits. I think you could relate to that somewhat, especially since your Mercury is in Capricorn. You'd probably be someone who does like to plan ahead and think ahead, someone who's goal oriented. However, you do have a lot of mixed energies as well. So you wouldn't, I definitely don't think it would be nearly enough to just stop there for your, in regard to describing your personality. The main two influences I see here, I guess, are the moon in Sagittarius, which is very different, and then Libra Ascendant, which is also a little bit different. So, moon in Sagittarius means that you are very kind of warm and fiery, a lot more playful than perhaps the typical Capricorn. You might be a little bit impulsive at times, or you would like an adventure. You would like a little bit of that drama in your life, that excitement. Moon in Sagittarius would kind of indicate how you are emotionally. It's our emotional core, wherever the moon is. And because the moon is in this fiery sign of Sagittarius, very outgoing, enthusiastic, it's so energetic that it sort of permeates through that kind of colder Capricorn exterior, I guess you could say. So you do have that part of you that's a little bit more, I don't want to say serious, but more practical or conservative. You do have that side of you, but then you also have this kind of warm, bubbly side that I think sort of radiates through that heavier, earthy side. So this is actually really great because your sun and your moon complement each other quite a bit. You have the Capricorn side of your personality that's very diligent and hardworking. It's very committed, and it's a really great energy to have when you're working toward long-term goals in life. So, you probably would have a general idea of what you want to accomplish in your life at pretty much all times. But not only that, you would have the Sagittarian moon, so you have this other part of your personality that is a little bit idealistic and it's very energetic. It likes to dream big. So combining Sagittarius and Capricorn is actually one of the best combinations for achieving things in a very tangible way, because you would be idealistic and free spirited. You would dream really big, but you'd also have that dedicated side of your personality that shows up every day to put in the hard work to actually make those big dreams come true. So you do want to dream big and have these huge aspirations, but you also want to make sure everything is realistic. You're a realistic optimist, I would think. So yeah, this is a really strong combination. It would result in a lot of contrast within you, but it would make you an extremely motivated individual, and I think you'd be very sort of ambitious and just with your personality too. It's sort of a nice mix. It would make you well-rounded because you are warm and a little bit charismatic, but then you're also realistic and practical and grounded, so you don't get too carried away with things. Let's see here, and Oh, also combining Sagittarius with Capricorn like this would usually indicate a really great sense of humor. Sagittarius is known to be the sign of humor. It's very, jovial, joking, jocular, and it likes to have a good time and be kind of entertaining, dramatic at times. And then you're combining that with the Capricorn energy, which is more deadpan. It has a deadpan sense of humor. It's known to be sarcastic or cynical. So you would definitely have a potential for being really humorous. Now, because of your Libra rising, I think this would be in a sort of like quirky or subdued sort of way. With Libra rising, that would indicate that you are not. Okay, so Libra is a cardinal sign, so all cardinal signs are leaders, but Libra leads in a very indirect way. It leads through other people. And so you're not typically the one to initiate, at least not in a direct way. Um, so let's talk about your relationships, I guess. Um, so Libra rising, yeah. Let's talk about your relationships. Then I'll come back to more of the general personality. You would very much want to be with someone who is very strong-willed and confident, someone outgoing, someone else who makes the first move because you yourself do not prefer to initiate, especially, romantically or sexually or what have you. You would like someone else to be the initiator. And you would be attracted towards fiery individuals. You have descendant in Aries, so that could be very literally maybe people who are Aries suns or have other planets in Aries, but it could also be other fire signs like Leo or Sagittarius. Sagittarius, you, like I said, have that connection with your moon being there, so you would very much relate to other people with Sagittarius placements or Aries. So I think those two signs are what I would look to the most for your compatibility. Again, you really want someone self-assured, confident, someone who initiates, someone very outgoing, very fiery, charismatic, funny, someone who's a little bit spontaneous, impulsive at times, but someone who likes to have a good time and who's very active. And I think you yourself are a very active person as well because you have this mix of fire and earth within you that together makes someone who's very focused on like the physical world. Like you want to do things physically. You want to have, real life experiences. So, for instance, you wouldn't seem to me to be someone who's into video games or um like technology or imagining things. Like you can be imaginative, but you're more wanting to have those real hands-on experiences. You want to really experience the world. So you would want to be with someone else who's very adventurous and outgoing, who you could have those adventures and those physical experiences with. I could say. Now, looking to your Venus and your Mars, which also has a lot to do with relationships and attraction and what you desire, what you find desirable in a mate. These are both in water signs. Venus is in Pisces, where it's exalted actually, and then Mars is in Cancer, where it's debilitated. So these would both indicate that you would find water energy attractive. So you'd be attracted to a mate who's a little bit emotional, a little bit sensitive, maybe more so than yourself, I would say. So someone who's a little bit more emotional, more sensitive, someone kind of creative, idealistic, maybe very imaginative. Um, and you yourself having Venus in Pisces means that you're a little bit in love with everyone. It's like Venus in Pisces is almost like a Jesus placement in a way. Like you have this almost like spiritual connection with everyone, and Venus is exalted in Pisces, so it makes you sort of attractive to people. It's like you can just have this easy charisma, but it's something more than charisma. I think people, I don't know, would almost like fall in love with you very easily. And you yourself too, you feel connections with almost everyone. Like part of you really wants to be intimate with other people, like with many other people in a sort of emotional or mental type of way, I would say. So I think this would result in you wanting a partner who's kind of multifaceted, someone who has different sides to their personality, who's a little bit complex. Definitely someone very emotionally deep. You have your moon and descendant and fire signs, and then your Venus and Mars and water signs. So that combination of water and fire in your arena of love and relationships would indicate someone you want someone very deep, very emotionally deep, very kind of wise, someone who's kind of been there, done that, has a very rich life story, life experience. Yeah, someone very soulful, I think, would be very attractive to you. And again, someone a little bit more sensitive and emotional, but also more confident and outgoing than yourself, because you would like to kind of follow along with their self-expression. Someone else who is maybe they are a tiny bit self-centered at times, but that same maybe self-centeredness also allows them to be very confident and outgoing and to lead, basically to initiate, because they're a very decisive person. So that's kind of what you'd be attracted to. You'd like to participate in their own self-expression and just have someone to kind of follow along with and go on these adventures, basically. Okay, we could kind of jump around so many different places here. Let's talk about back to your ascendant again. So ascendant is it has to do with our appearance, our mannerisms, the first impression we give off to other people. It's also our approach to things, and it has a lot to do with our life mission as well. So really, it covers a lot of ground here. And because your ascendant is in Libra, that would indicate someone who is more. You would be someone who's kind of easygoing, go with the flow, very adaptable, very diplomatic. So you're fine going with the flow with other people, as at least that's at least how you come across. So, and I think that's kind of nice because with your sun in Capricorn and your moon in Sagittarius, I think you're actually a very strong-willed individual. You're definitely someone who you know what you want and you know how to get it. But this Libra rising kind of has this sort of polished exterior for your personality that you can go with the flow and kind of blend in with other people. And you're very good at blending in with other people. You're good at being polite or professional, kind of. Um, let's see. I don't know. You're almost Libra rising would make you a little bit of a chameleon, socially speaking, and I think this is really key because you are such a driven person. You have all these goals, and so the Libra rising is a really nice touch that you have those interpersonal skills, that come naturally to you. I think you're. I almost want to say you're a very professional person. Like you're very dedicated and outgoing, but you're not too like headstrong. You're not too overbearing. Like I said, you know what you want and how to get it, and so that oftentimes does result or include working with other people, being cooperative, being polite, professional, friendly, etc. So you're really good at all of that, and it all kind of has to do. It's all very goal oriented. You may seem to people to be, like I said, easygoing and just go with the flow, but you're going with the flow and you're adapting, but only because it fits into a larger goal that you have. It's all actually very strategic. So, you may seem like you're just going with the flow, but this is part of a bigger plan that you have. You're a very strategic person, I would say. And you have Jupiter conjunct your ascendant, so this to me would indicate a little bit of a bubbly nature to you. So seeming, I think when people first meet you, they would just think that you're very. I guess I kind of already covered some of this, but they would think you're just very bubbly, very outgoing, very friendly. They wouldn't realize, all those things are true, but they might not realize how actually very driven you are and goal oriented and strategic. And, what you're doing is very deliberate. So, yes, you're good at going with the flow and just being easygoing or carefree. I mean, that part is real, but that's definitely not the whole story. You have these larger dreams and plans in mind, and that easygoing nature is just sort of a puzzle piece in that larger part of your personality, I would say. That's a nice segue to talk about your career and your, I guess, what these goals might sort of relate to. So you have this connection with the homes, other people's homes. Midheaven and Cancer would often indicate that you're working either in your own home or in other people's homes. So like being I don't a homemaker or an interior designer, or I read someone's chart who had Cancer midheaven who cleaned other people's homes. Um, and these days, there's endless jobs really that you can either do in your own home or in someone else's home. So that there would definitely be that potential there. This same aspect, the Cancer midheaven, would also make you an excellent manager because you would provide to your place of work a sort of nurturing air, a nurturing quality. You would I'm not sure how to else to say that, but it's almost like you make the workplace feel more at home. So this could literally have to do with you working at home or working in other people's homes, but it could also just have to do with you bringing that home energy to your place of work, making it feel more comfortable for other people, more nurturing, more comfortable, I guess. And I did notice that you have your sun in the fourth house, and having sun in the fourth house often indicates that your energy is at home. So you might not. So when you were born, it was almost the middle of the night. It was 11:35 p.m. So the sun was almost as far away as it could get from the horizons. So that would indicate that your ego is mostly kind of internalized. So you're not always super accessible to people. You do have that Libra rising where people, that's easy to connect with on some level. But at the same time, I think people might have a hard time, really getting to know you past that kind of friendly and professional, easygoing exterior. They might not see that kind of driven side to you. And that is related also, that same placement that entails everything I just said. It also has to do with you feeling more comfortable at home. So you could be a homebody, and connecting that to your Cancer midheaven, that again shows a likeliness of maybe working at home or wanting to work at home. Could also apply maybe to working with other people's homes. Definitely some kind of home connection there with your career, and with your lifestyle as well. I think your home would be very important to you. Oh, one other thing. So, being a Libra rising, everything's almost kind of flipped. So you make, you know, your public sphere is very home related, but then across from that, the IC, which would normally indicate your home life, that is almost very like professional and motivated. So you'd almost be like a manager of your home. I think you'd be kind of in charge of your home. You'd be a leader there in a lot of ways. And you could be a leader at your workplace as well, but it would be in a more indirect way or more subdued type of way. And I think you'd really be, excuse me, like I said earlier, you would be a really great manager of sorts, just because you are very driven and goal oriented, but you're also very smooth about it. You're not stepping on anybody's toes, so you are excellent in that way. Something I should mention though is you have Mars very close to your midheaven, so this would incorporate a sort of aggressive or crisis related energy that's very close to your midheaven, which rules career and public life, your reputation. So this would mean to me that your career would have to do, definitely your home or other people's homes, or maybe managing a business in some way, making that like a home. But there's something kind of crisis related about it. So you're either responding to crises, or having to be somewhat assertive or deal with assertive people. There's almost this kind of violent energy about it. So I'm not sure. I feel like you probably know more than me about what that means exactly, but there's some kind of crisis, or I don't know, there could be like violent accidents at your work. So I'm not sure. So I almost think like healthcare might be good for you, or something where there's a certain level of intensity, either at your home or other people's homes. So I'm not sure how to read that exactly. See, or you could be working in a very male environment, working in an environment that's very male dominant or very competitive or edgy. Um, I don't know. You can maybe let me know how to interpret that further. But there's definitely that potential there. Let's just jump around here. So something I noticed that I thought was really interesting is your moon in Sagittarius is conjunct the North Node. So this is a really kind of lucky placement, and you do have this kind of Jupiter connection. Jupiter's conjunct your Ascendant. Your moon is in Sagittarius, which is ruled by Jupiter, and then moon is conjunct the North Node, which is just um, with all this Jupiter influence, it makes you kind of bubbly and outgoing, and you have a kind of carefree energy about you. You have this kind of fun, positive nature to you. So this is really nice because you're a lot more cheerful than the average Capricorn, I would say. Capricorns are optimists, but in a very like realistic, pragmatic way. They're not, ones to show overwhelming joy by any means. But you know, you're not as deadpan as most Capricorns. You have this kind of bubbly, positive, happy side to your personality, which is really nice. And going back to Moon conjunct North Node, that would indicate that you come into this world almost kind of naturally evolved. North Node would typically indicate an area that we are not good at, but are wishing to sort of evolve toward in this life. But you having your Moon, which represents so much of the personality, it's already conjunct the North Node. So you'd kind of already naturally be where you're meant to be, very in a very intuitive, instinctive way. I sort of describe aspects like this as almost like a free pass. A lot of challenges that, not to say that your life doesn't have challenges, because it of course does, but a lot of challenges that people experience in regard to evolution and, going in the direction that they're meant to go, you would kind of naturally already do that. So the way this is for you is you're meant to become um, outgoing and adventurous and focused on the real world, I guess. Focusing on being very passionate and motivated, but you already are those things. So you have this almost kind of grace to you. Like you're just, um, I don't want I just want to make sure I'm describing this accurately, but you almost have like, um, it would almost just make you kind of evolved in a way, like naturally evolved. Almost kind of it's like a gifted placement in a way. Now you are Capricorn Sun, so you definitely have to work for what you have. Generally speaking, in your life, you'd be a self-made individual, but at the same time, you have this optimistic, cheerful, adventurous spirit about you that's just very evolved in a very natural way. It's almost like you are just kind of a mature person in this kind of adventurous, happy way. And this would be something that you've always had from a young age. Okay, let's talk about your childhood here. Okay, that gets a little bit interesting because you have a very rare aspect. You were born during the year of the Uranus Neptune conjunction in Capricorn. It's not exact for you, but it is pretty close. But the weird thing about it though is that it's conjunct your IC. IC is this little black triangle here, and it indicates your childhood, your upbringing, who you were as a child. So you may have been, IC in Capricorn would indicate that you were maybe much more serious as a child, more very adult-like, like you were very kind of almost serious, pragmatic, practical. You're very set in your ways as a child. You're almost like an old person as a child in a way. But the interesting thing is that we incorporate the energies of Neptune and Uranus into this aspect. So you may have been like very psychic as a child, or very quirky, very eccentric. I'm almost thinking this more and more describes like a really, really old person. Like you are just set in your ways and you have these kind of crazy beliefs, as a child. You're very unusual, you're very dreamy, intuitive. It's almost like you're tapping into different realities or energies. I'm getting chills now, so I think I'm on the right track here. But yes, it's almost like you have this connection to like a weird belief system, or you're very intuitive as a child. You have very strange experiences as a child, and a lot of this could have to do with like paranormal phenomenon or psychic phenomena. Um, I don't know, and I think it would contribute to you having this knowingness, especially from a young age, that you are open to a lot of areas of life that other people would be turned off by because they would be too weird. So you yourself are not. Um, how do I put this? Like you're very open. You're very open to strange parts of reality. Like it makes sense you'd be open to astrology, for instance, because things that other people don't think are possible, you actually know are possible because you've experienced these things from a very young age. So I'm not sure exactly what that pertains to, but it would mean that you, from a very young age, it's like you're on a different track than everyone else. You're in this like different reality, and it would mean that you're very aware, though, very like almost spiritual or intelligent or evolved in some way. And I don't want to just go into flattery too much, but that's really honestly how I see it. That you are like accessing information from other planes, or and this really is very much based on your childhood though. It's something that would still always be there for the rest of your life, but you might not experience it as literally as you did as a child. Really, there's just something very phenomenal and unusual about your upbringing, if that makes sense. Okay, I've talked about most of what I want to talk about here. Um, Actually, well, okay, one last thing. You have Saturn in Aquarius, so people born, within a year or two of you, much of their challenge in life would have to do with how they relate to other people. So people with Saturn in Aquarius often have social anxiety or fear of groups. They don't, it's just that they feel so different from everyone else, and so it's hard for them to know how they fit in. But part of that lesson is to learn that rather than, keeping your eccentricities hidden away from other people to try to fit in, it's actually the other way around. The more you embrace what's unusual about yourself, the more you embrace your eccentricities and what makes you unique, that is actually so valuable to the group. That's something that you can bring to society or to the groups that you affiliate yourself with in order to become eventually a leader of some kind of group. So that's just one potential for anyone who has Saturn in Aquarius. So it's not super lit up by your chart. It does kind of trine your ascendant, but that's just one potential there. And I think it's something that you are making a lot of progress on right now as you go through your Saturn return, because Saturn right now, as I speak, is transiting through Aquarius, so it's approaching your natal Saturn. So you may have had challenges in these areas, but Jupiter has also been crossing over the same area. So over the past year, I would say you've had a lot of challenges in these areas, but also a lot of growth and expansion. So you may be becoming a leader of a group of people, or learning to assert your uniqueness in some way with other people. And becoming, as a result of that, you're becoming more comfortable with other people or with groups of people. And that is pretty much what I see. So overall, just to sum that up, just generally speaking, you to me seem like someone who is very cheerful, very outgoing, very easygoing, definitely on the surface, but deep down in this more hidden side of you, you're very driven, and you know what you want, you know how to get it in a very long term and very big picture type of way. So I think that's really excellent. So definitely a very interesting chart to read. Let me know if that resonated with you, and let me know if you have any questions or if you'd like me to delve into anything further. But definitely a fun chart to read, and I appreciate the opportunity. And if anyone else would like a reading, email me at manic.mercurian@gmail.com. But thanks for this request, and thanks everyone else for watching, and I'll see you later.